Hello and welcome fellow Astroneers, I am Ducky O'Brien and today I'll be going over the Missions Power and Compass update released on March 31st, 2021. This update has more changes than usual, so the video will run a bit longer. As always, I'll have timestamps to each section down in the description as well as the comments below, so you can skip to the section that interests you. This update has a lot of content, so we'll break it down into the 3 categories. For the full patch log, I'll link the patch notes in the description below. Let's go over missions first. Missions are simple quests you complete for rewards. You can check any landing pad to access the control panel to check your log, or you can use the new action wheel shortcut. On PC, you can access this by pressing the R button. Missions start off simple and encourages new players to explore and learn about every area of the game. The rewards are usually bytes, modules, and sometimes unlock blueprints for you, so they're very handy for new players or for players starting a fresh save file. One of the best rewards is the QD-RTG, and this leads into our next section, Power. Before we begin covering the new big power items, we'll need to go over the smallest one. The QD-RTG is easily unlocked via missions, although they can be found while exploring. The drop rate is very low, so I would recommend using missions to unlock it. It fits onto a single slot and produces 1 unit of power per second. This may not seem like a big deal at first until you combine it with the portable oxygenator, which now conveniently draws 1 unit of power per second as well. You can place both the QD-RTG and the portable oxygenator on your backpack for unlimited oxygen. This is game changing when combined with jetpacks and the compass. This will let you explore freely without worrying about suffocation or getting lost. Those pesky plants can still kill you though. For the new power items, we have the large solar panel. It costs 4,000 bytes to research, is printed from the medium printer, and is crafted using 1 aluminum alloy, 1 glass, and 1 copper. It takes up 4 slots and produces 8 units of power per second. The large wind turbine. It costs 3,500 bytes to research, is printed from the medium printer, and is crafted using 1 aluminum alloy, 1 glass, and 1 ceramic. It takes up 4 slots and produces 10 units of power per second. The extra large wind turbine. It costs 4,500 bytes to research, is printed from the large printer, and is crafted using 1 aluminum alloy, 1 iron, 1 graphene, and 1 ceramic. It stands on its own and has a neat little deploy animation. Once deployed, it will anchor down and start producing 17 units of power per second when there is wind. You do have to connect other platforms to it to make use of the power though. There are other significant changes to power along with the new items. The most notable is that the recipe for small batteries has changed from 1 lithium to 1 zinc. This means new save files will have a much easier time generating and saving power by being able to craft small batteries easily without leaving Silva. There are more changes to power generation as well. The good news is that most have increased output. Here is a list of the changes. The small generator has increased from 1 unit per second to 2 units per second. The small wind turbine has increased from 0.5 to 1.5. The small solar panel has increased from 0.5 to 1. The medium generator has increased from 3 to 9. The medium wind turbine has increased from 1 to 5. The medium solar panel has increased from 2 to 4. The medium battery has increased from 3 to 5 for throughput. And the solar array has increased from 8 to 14. This is an amazing quality of life change. Power is much easier to produce and store. Batteries now have increased storage capacity along with the increased throughput. The medium battery storage capacity has increased from 256 units of power to 512. For other changes, small and medium generators last longer and produce more power and cost less bytes to research. For the small generator, the organic duration has increased from 100 seconds to 120. Total power production has increased from 100 units to 240 units of power per organic. The medium generator. The research cost has been reduced from 3,750 bytes to 2,000. Organic duration has increased from 100 seconds to 120. Total power production has increased from 300 units to 1,080. This is an incredible change. You need less organics and you also produce more power. Medium generators are now a viable source of energy for small to medium bases. Other power production items have a reduction to research costs as well as recipe tweaks. The following items have the following changes. The small wind turbine. The research cost has been reduced from 500 bytes to 300. The small solar panel. The research cost has been reduced from 500 bytes to 300 as well. The medium solar panel. the research cost has been reduced from 3,750 bytes to 2,000. For recipe changes, the medium wind turbine has changed from 1 glass and 1 ceramic to 1 aluminum and 1 ceramic. The solar array has changed from 1 copper, 1 glass, 1 plastic, and 1 graphene to 1 copper, 1 glass, 1 graphene, and 1 aluminum alloy. These changes make power production items much cheaper to unlock, and overall, you need to make less since you produce way more power now. There is bad news, however. Most production modules now have increased power draw, but not enough to the point where you need to make way more power items with the new changes to power production. The changes are as follows. For the smelting furnace, power draw has been increased from 3 units per second to 5. The large printer's power draw has been increased to 5. The soil centrifuge has been increased from 4 to 6. The chem lab has been increased from 3 to 10. The atmospheric condenser has been increased from 6 to 20. The medium shredder has been increased from 1.5 to 5. The large shredder has been increased from 3 to 7.5. And the extra large shredder has been increased from 3 to 10. The biggest hits are the condensers with a 233 increase in power draw. This will basically impact gas farms. The shredder and chem lab increases are rather large, but it shouldn't affect most bases since those modules won't be on 100% of the time. The overall increase in both power production and storage, while decreasing the research costs, make power easier to get in the beginning. Okay, on to the last addition of this update, the compass. It is accessible from the action wheel. The compass will display points of interest such as shelters, vehicles, and beacons. It will display the closest item of each type along with the general direction and elevation of each object. Alien platforms and probes will also be shown as nav points as well. It will also show where you died. It will only show the latest place where you died though, so be very careful if you don't want to lose your objects. This is an incredible change. One of my biggest complaints, personally speaking, was getting lost because that was no fun. I would wander around on my rover train and amass a huge collection of resources and little knickknacks, only to lose my way and be unable to navigate to my base. It frustrated me to no end, but those days are no more. The compass will also point to the correct pole of the planet now as well. Overall, these changes will have a pretty big impact on the gameplay of Astroneer. The missions are a fantastic addition because it gives directions to new players. You now have clear goals to chase after if you want to. It's all optional. It also makes the overall progression in the game much smoother by giving player extra bytes, modules, and blueprints. The power generation changes are great as well because power was one of the bottlenecks to progression in the game. The balances make power much easier to unlock, produce, and store on most planets for early gameplay, while it does make it slightly more difficult to create large farms for endgame production players. Honestly speaking, although I am a huge fan of production lines myself, it is a very small percentage of the player base that does this, so you're not going to see a huge impact for most players. The compass is a fantastic addition as well. Getting lost was a huge detriment and discouraged exploration, while now the combination of the QD-RTG, portable oxygenator, jetpack, and compass make exploration fun and relatively risk-free, minus deaths from falling and plants. Those darn plants. That's not all. The Exo Salvage Initiative event is back for a limited time. This is the event where you package scrap for rewards. If you want an overview, I have a video made on that already. You can check that out in the description. For 1,500 points, you will unlock the previous rewards of the Turret Apporter Mask, the 4ml attire hat, and the Salvage Chick palette. These are all great puns. Moving on, for 5,000 points, you will unlock the new Wired Hat, and for 8,000 points, you will unlock the new Going Green palette. If you keep going, you'll receive incremental and randomized rewards including QT-RTGs. Before we end, there's a surprise addition to this update. Music. The small horns can now be tuned. To do this, you can use a medium resource canister or a medium gas canister and place a resource inside. Place the horn on top and it will produce a different tone based on the material in the container. Here are all the tones available. There are quite a wide variety of tones, and you can basically make your own orchestra now if you want. You can also change the pitch of the tone by adding in more resources. You have over a full octave in terms of range. There's a layout similar to that of a piano. To create songs, you can do it in many different ways. It depends on how you visualize music, but you can either create a new canister for each note in the song's progression, which takes a lot of work, or you can create basically a piano and then use delay repeaters to hit each note when you want to. You can do it however you want. There's a large degree of freedom. Here's a small sample of the Legend of Zelda theme song I created. There's a lot you can do with this, and I can't wait to see what the community will create next. Alright, that'll be it for today, folks. What a large update. It doesn't seem like much, but it changes the game in many ways. Thank you so much for dropping by and watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, things you'd like for me to cover, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I'll certainly try my best to make a video on it. And as always, hope you guys are staying safe and sane out there, and I will catch you guys next time.